It's time for the Gold Show. Jonathan Rose, CEO, President of the Capital Gold Group, and Precious Metals Investment Strategist is with us today. As always, Jonathan, good to talk with you.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, and welcome to our listeners just tuning in. And we're going to be talking about gold on today's show and the importance of having a balanced portfolio that does include precious metals. There's some good indicators out there for gold averaging about $1,200 an ounce by the end of this year, and could even see $2,000 by next year. We're going to be discussing these topics and more on today's Gold Show.
But before we get started, there is an important gold guide. It is freshly updated for 2009 that is going to be made available to our listeners today, absolutely free when they call. And Jonathan, I understand this is an $80 value. It goes out to them free today, doesn't it?
Absolutely. An $80 value, free for the listeners on today's broadcast. They just have to pick up the phone, call us toll-free at 800-510-9594. That's 1-800-510-9594. The Gold Guide will show listeners how to purchase gold at the lowest possible prices, which gold coins and bars will give them a better return in the future, and if they have an IRA or a 401k, how simple and easy it is to roll that over into an IRA backed by solid gold. It's all in there. It's a great education, and it's free. The number, folks, is 800-510-9594. Again, 800-510-9594.
All right, into today's program. And first off, when should you buy gold? Is right now a good time, or should you wait? Is there a better time or a worse time to buy gold?
Well, literally, had people waited 18 years on purpose, they couldn't have picked a better time to shift into gold. I mean, if they just read some of the headlines out there, one, Citigroup says gold could rise above $2,000 next year as the world unravels. We're predicting gold prices to be at $1,200 an ounce by the end of this year, and this is also according to the Dow Jones Newswire. So there's lots of upward movement for gold right now, especially if we look at gold bullion, where today's spot price closed at $893.60, and we have a lot of the big Wall Street pundits screaming $2,000, $3,000 an ounce in the next couple of years. So really, right now is a perfect time to not just purchase gold, but also understanding the benefits of why people are purchasing gold, because it offers so much protection simply because gold is independent of all market cycles. So the more trouble and grief that the world and the economy is having, well, guess what? There's a flight to safety and security, and people are balancing their portfolios with precious metals, particularly gold, that you get to hold on to.
Jonathan, you talk about the preservation power of holding on to the commodity for, say, 2 to 5 years. Explain this right now with where gold is.
Well, you know, where gold is at right now, it's a great hedge against uncertainty. I like to refer to gold as what's known as portfolio insurance. So just like if you purchase a car, you have insurance, or, you know, you have health insurance, you know, why not have insurance for your portfolio? That's how gold is looked at. In fact, gold is looked at as a flight to safety and security. It's a safe haven, and in fact, it's been a safe haven not just for the past couple of years, in fact, for centuries. And if you look throughout time, there's reasons why members of the royal families, heads of state, they've used gold to protect their wealth for centuries. It's absolutely no secret. But probably the most fascinating aspect and benefit of gold for me personally is that gold really protects you against government currency devaluations, which is always a threat in this economy, as we've already seen with the dollar slipping.
Well, let's talk about that. It used to be just the talk, but now I understand there is some talk of a new global currency. Explain what this is and how it might impact gold.
Well, we've had the G20 summit that have been taking place meetings also recently in England, and it's obviously a lot of the top world countries, and they're talking about maybe taking the US dollar off of the market as a mainstream asset in terms to back everything up, and replace it maybe with another currency, whether it's a yen currency or a new super currency that they've put a tagline on. Now, obviously, if this was to happen, we would have to cash in these dollars for a new currency, and who knows what the conversion rate will be. And in fact, whilst this summit meeting was going on, the IMF, International Monetary Fund, also announced that it needed to sell off maybe 403 tons of gold, you know, so a lot of these countries become liquid again, especially since everyone's spending so much money. They need some money, and just the sheer news on that alone, we saw some pullbacks in the price of gold, and that's why it's another great time to buy, because as we've seen a dip in the market, I know know that gold's going to rebound. In fact, that the rally's already turning around. So whether we have fears of the dollar being replaced by another super currency, or whether, people are trying to get out of the stock market, they're looking for other vehicles, other investments, and that's why the spotlight is on gold right now, because it's solid, secure, and it can never be worth zero, unlike paper markets that we've witnessed before.
Well, we're going to have more in our conversation about preparing for this change now and preserving your capital, but I want to take a time to give out the number and invite our listeners to call to get the Gold Guide, a normally $80 value. They're going to get it free, or if they'd like to make a purchase today and begin their portfolio or add to it, there's one simple number they can call, correct?
Absolutely. That number, folks, is 800-510-9594. Again, 800-510-9594. In fact, when they call in, they'll be greeted by one of our friendly gold specialists, and whether you're looking to purchase one gold coin or whether you're looking to educate yourself and you want more information on gold, request the free Gold Guide. It's normally an $80 value, comes with a great DVD, and it will show listeners today how to purchase gold at the lowest possible prices, how to protect those IRAs or 401ks, especially if it's, in a mutual fund, which have been shrinking year after year. Learn how to protect it with gold. And again, that information is free for today's listeners. They just have to call at 800-510-9594. They can see us online at www.safeasgold.com or safeasgold.us.
We're talking with Jonathan Rose, President and CEO of the Capital Gold Group. He has helped many, many people build their portfolios. All right, the talk of a new global currency or even inflation, with all this money being pumped into our economy, how can we prepare now for this so that we protect our portfolios?
Well, it's a prudent man that foresees danger and prepares, and a lot of people are realizing where this money is being continuously printed, there's going to be ramifications from that, and the worst case scenario, which is a realistic scenario, is inflation, rampant inflation that could be creeping up on us. And what's scary about inflation is you don't actually see it. It's not something you can touch or feel, but it's something very insidious that continues to take effect. So, it's like a caterpillar on a leaf. It's taking small little bites. You come back to it, there's nothing left. And that's how inflation can actually cripple the U.S. dollar, which isn't something new. This has been going on for decades. And I always tell people, if we were back in the year 1920 and we took a $20 gold coin and a $20 bill, back in that year, they would both buy a man a brand new suit. Now, today, 2009, that $20 1-ounce gold piece, well, it'll cost you about $1,000. That's the price for an ounce of gold today. It would still buy a man a brand new suit. Yet that $20 bill be lucky to even buy you a tie or even lunch at, today's prices. So people can really see the value of the dollar has diminished. This isn't anything new. It's been going on for decades. But gold, on the other hand, not only preserves its purchasing power, it's going up.
Jonathan Rose with us from the Capital Gold Group. Jonathan, let's talk about the near future, the predictions about the economy. Is it getting better? I know that even the president says it's going to get worse before it gets better. What does that mean for us?
Well, I think there's been a couple of news stories hitting the markets today. Obama tempers optimism with reality on economy, and he's trying to let people know that, we're no by means out of the woods just yet. And even though they're trying to say that there's glimmer of hope, just the fact that they're saying the word glimmer of hope, they're trying to give us a teaser to make sure things are going to eventually turn around, and we hope that they do eventually turn around. But all markets are cyclical, so that means whether it's going to turn around tomorrow or next month is not a very realistic approach of looking at things. This recession could go on for maybe 5 to 10 years, and that's just a reality. And if you have a look at all these bank collapses this year that have taken place, all these companies that have gone out of business, and even the FDIC, who are warning